We are back on MorningLine. It's our final segment this morning with our guests, where we've been talking about Medicare counseling, home and community-based services, conservatorships, meal and transportation services, what's out there all through the Greater Nashville Regional Council. And there is a phone number that we put up for you, and Michelle Lacewell, you just explain to folks if they call. Is it 259?
615-255-1010.
1010, right? And we'll get that up there for you. And there, you see it on the screen. If they call that number, go ahead.
So we have counselors that staff that's our information and assistance helpline, and they will take your calls just like we've done here this morning, and take your questions, and then assess what needs you may have and why you're calling, and if it's something that we can provide assistance with, we're going to put you into our system and assign a social worker to you or a counselor, whatever the situation may be, and try to get you help. Or if you can call us for anything, even if it's nothing that we do related to supporting older adults, because we have a network that we work with, and we can help you connect to the services you need anywhere in Middle Tennessee.
All right, so it's it's good to know. Yes. You call there, and if you can't help, you're going to refer them someplace else. So take note of that number, because we're covering, it's a large umbrella. You cover an awful lot of stuff, and that's awesome. So you have referrals. We have Debbie called in. Let's take her call. Debbie, good morning. Hi, Debbie.
Hi.
Hey, how can we help you, ma'am?
Yeah, I am 71 years old, and I'm on Social Security. And right up until the time that I was diagnosed with macular degeneration, I was able to keep working, which helped cover my high mortgage and my utility bills and everything. Well, now that I have been diagnosed with this macular degeneration, I was wondering, on top of my regular Social Security check, can I get like a Social Security disability check also?
Okay, I can answer that because I know Social Security inside out. Do you guys handle many questions? Yeah, the answer is no. I mean, if you're already collecting a Social Security benefit at your age, you're getting your full benefit. Now, whether or not there are some separate services that could maybe help you, and I'll let you guys talk about that with her macular. She's having vision problems, obviously. But I think disability would have been something, if this had happened to you before you started drawing your full Social Security, you could have qualified for that. But at your age now, my understanding is that there's no benefit beyond the amount of Social Security you're drawing right now. That's a good question. But could there be services for her? I guess if she can't see much anymore and she can't drive, she'd have transportation maybe through you guys.
So we can talk. So if she'd call in, we would ask kind of what she needed help with. Yeah. And we have a lot of, our counselors are really good at asking those questions to kind of dig into what all is needed. Because sometimes when somebody calls in, it's one thing, but the more you talk to them, you're like, well, we can also refer you to this program, or we also have this available. So we're going to look at her total needs. So whether she needs help with just transportation, we're going to connect her to those resources. If it's support in the home, like now she can't clean, we're going to try to connect her to that. Home delivered meals, you know, anything that we can connect her to, we're gonna.
Yeah, and I don't know what kind of medical treatment comes into play with dealing with symptoms from macular degeneration, but if she's on some kind of a Medicare plan, that maybe there's another one out there, you know, Debbie, that would be better suited and would save you money. Call in with the open enrollment and see if, so there's all of that out there for you. The number again on the screen, 255-1010, and Debbie, call in and tell them about your situation and see. Fair question. As far as Social Security issues, I even asked them a question about that during the break. You guys are not financial consultants. So someone may call you and say, I'm trying to decide whether or not I should take my Social Security early or wait until I get full retirement. And that's a decision a lot of people are making these days, taking it maybe a bit early for whatever reason, but you would refer them to either some type of financial consultant who could maybe look individually at that. You don't make those calls.
Correct. No.
Yeah, that makes sense on that. Anything else since our last segment that maybe I haven't touched on that you think is important we want to throw out there for the folks?
You know, I think one of the most important things for everyone to take away from this conversation is that we are a resource that exists. Often we're, as the type of agency we are, we're not out there putting paid ads on television the way we were referencing some of the folks that are doing for insurance coming into open enrollment, and but we are we are here to support 13 counties in Middle Tennessee. And
you're nonpartisan. You don't take sides. You're not pushing. You don't make money on selling something on an Advantage plan.
We do not.
All of that. Just want to be real clear on this.
No,
this is just a program to help everyone.
This is a program to help everyone. And so if you have a question related to our, a question related to yourself, a family member, a friend over the age of 60, call us. And to Sarah's point, if you think we're not the right agency, we're going to help figure that out for you and put you in touch with the right folks, because we really are a great place to connect to resources.
Yeah, and I think this should be a given, but I want to have you guys address this just for our viewers, because oftentimes they're calling in with personal matters and sharing details. It's all confidential, correct?
Absolutely.
Just talk about how that's handled. You'll talk to them, but the information, the way it's shared, and it's not something where you're collecting information that's going to go public.
So I'm glad you brought that up. I'll let Sarah talk about that system.
Yes, we because we are federally funded, we do collect some data, but it's more about age, where a person lives. Yes, and the name is never attached, and that gets sent as far as so they can see who is served and where.
Right.
But no, we do not release individuals' information. Now, if somebody wants help calling an agency, we will get their consent to give their name and number to an agency for that agency to call them back. But normally when we do, especially our telephone counseling, we want to empower them and give them the information to call. If they need assistance, we will help with that. But we don't release anybody's information without their consent or knowledge.
Excellent. It's worth saying. And again, the number, what I like about having you on as well is obviously you're on this program. You're reputable. You guys have been around for years. You do this. You know as well as I do, there's scam artists out there, and they're oftentimes targeting, be it Social Security, Medicare. A lot of folks, email the newsroom about, well, I heard about this, or gosh forbid, sometimes they get taken because they're asking for money. I mean, I don't know, I just worry that folks sometimes are taken in by these scam artists. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And we do our best to keep up on our Facebook page and through other channels of communication any scams that we've been made.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
if we have been notified about, particularly related to Medicare or other sort of medical care providing scams, we try to put that information out for folks so that we can help.
Yeah,
they're kind of aware of the most recent scam.
Are there some lately? What have you heard lately? I mean, I've done some stories on some of them, but they're misrepresenting. They're trying what they're after is personal information or cash, one way or the other. And usually they're soliciting. Okay, you guys aren't reaching out and calling people. They have to come to you, correct?
Yes.
Now, keep that in mind. When someone's calling you and asking for your personal information, 100% of the time it's crap. Hang up on them. 100%. And someone will say, "Oh, hey, Nick, there's so..." No. If you're calling me and asking me for any of my personal information, I'm hanging up on you. Now, I will reach out and find out otherwise.
Yeah, and we do have social workers. So if somebody's receiving home health in the home, and that home health worker refers that individual to us, then we might call that individual.
But they would have reached out to that social worker. It's not like you're starting. There's a genesis of them reaching out first. And that's the difference. If you reached out first and it leads to calls, that's different. Yeah. But a cold call coming into you, 100% of the time, it's bogus.
Yes.
Yeah, and you hear these people, they're the least who can afford to lose.
Yeah. Well, and to mention, part of our Medicare counseling program and that training also involves a program that's a Medicare fraud education and reporting. Yeah. And so if you go through that program with us, you'll also learn about that and then be able to keep a lookout and know how to report that.
That's awesome. What's the Facebook page?
The GNRC.
The GNRC. Easy enough to see on Facebook. And again, we put the number up there again for Medicare open enrollment questions or others. As you said, that number is a general one for a clearinghouse. If someone calls in, if you can't help, you'll refer them. You guys are awesome. You must like your job because you help a lot of people.
We do.
You're certainly not getting rich doing it.
No, but we got a lot of heart points.
The heart points is what it's, and you know what? That's better than money in most cases. Yeah. Thank you both for coming on. Really appreciate it. If there's more we can get the word out down the road, you always let us know. We'll do programs like this because the more people who see this, the better. Thanks for coming on, both of you.
Thank you.
Take a break. Be back with the programming note right after this. Stay with us.